of theological discussion during the Reformation. You have like Theodorus Biblaner in 1506 to 64, the father of biblical exegesis, says F.F. Bruce in Switzerland, when repairing some of Calvin's omissions. Then you had Henrik Bullinger in 1504-75. Then in the post-Reformation period, you have Flacius and Camerius. Matthias Flacius Lyricus, 1520-75, published 1567 in his Clavis Scriptura Sacra, he only admits one sense of Scripture. Then we have Joachim Camerius, 1574, applied New Testament interpretation, says F.F. Bruce, to the principles which had mastered as a good student. Then we have the Catholic exegetes, and there are many of them. We'll just mention one or two. We have Johann Entius, who in 1547 wrote a preface to the Latin translation of Arthur's commentary on the book, says F.F. Bruce. We have two Jesuit scholars who made contributions of major importance, says F.F. Bruce. We have Francisco de Ribera, 1537-91, Lucius des Alcazar, 1554-1613. We have Grotius, Dutch jurist, 1583-1645, and he wrote Annotations Novum Testamentium, and was very philological and historical in his method. Then we have background studies. We have John Lightfoot, 1602-75, who saw that we should study the Bible in its historical context, and that means Jewish scholarship was brought into bear. And there was another number of Greek exegetes at the time, such as Johann Jacob Wettstein, 1693-1754, etc. Then we have the textual studies. We have the development of moving away from the Textus Receptus. We have a number of textual developments in textual criticism around about 1655 to 57. And you can go into detail on some of that in F.F. Bruce. Then we have Simler and Mechelles, who had new approaches. F.F. Bruce to interpretation was marked by the Abteilung von Freien Gebrauch des Kanons, 1771-75, of Johann Solomon Semler, 1725-91, which approached the New Testament canon on a historical basis. More on that. Then we had the Enlightenment, and we had Hermann Samuel Ramirez, we had Gotthard Ephraim Lessing, and there was the idea that there was a primitive Aramaic gospel of the Nazarenes behind the Book of Mark. These ideas were coming in. Then we have Griesbach, Johann Jacob Griesbach, 1745-1812, may be said to mark a transition from post-Reformation to modern age of New Testament study, says F.F. Bruce. Then we have DeWitt and Lachman, the new approach to biblical criticism, says F.F. Bruce, and interpretation at the end of the 18th and beginning of the 19th century is paralleled in other fields of study, especially in classical history and literature.